Every public company has to tell you exactly how it makes money, by law, in a filing, every quarter. Almost nobody actually reads them. So I opened the filing of the most talked about company in AI and read the whole thing, the income statement, the risk factors, the notes. And it quietly settles an argument the entire internet is having. Here's what it says. While everyone argues about who's winning AI, OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, almost everyone is watching the wrong company. Because whichever model comes out on top, one company quietly collects the money from all of them. It sells the shovels for the entire gold rush, and its own filing shows just how good that business is. Start with the scale, because it's hard to hold in your head. In the 3 months ending in April, NVIDIA booked revenue of $81.6 billion. And that number wasn't flat or fading. Year over year, it grew by 85%. A company this size has no business growing that fast, and this one is. But revenue isn't the tell, the margin is. Of every dollar of sales, the share NVIDIA keeps as gross profit is 74.9%. Most hardware makers live near 30 or 40, which means NVIDIA keeps roughly 75 cents on the dollar. Even in its worst recent year, dinged by a one-time export charge, that margin only slipped to 71. Selling physical hardware does not normally work like this. To see how unusual that is, line NVIDIA up against its own customers, the cloud giants buying the chips, on the same measure, operating margin. Google's cloud division runs an operating margin around 24%. Amazon's cloud, the most profitable of the three, runs about 35%. Microsoft's cloud segment runs around 43%. NVIDIA, the supplier selling into all of them, runs 65.6%. The company selling the shovels is nearly twice as profitable as its best-run customer. A 75% margin only matters if someone keeps paying it. So the next question is simple. Who, exactly, is writing these checks? The filing answers that too, and the list is shorter than you'd think. NVIDIA used to be known as a gaming graphics company, but that's not where the money is now. Of that $81 billion in quarterly sales, the data center segment, the AI build-out, brought in $75.2 billion. As a share of the entire company, that works out to about 92%. The gaming business it was once famous for is now a rounding error beside it. And here's the part almost nobody reads, NVIDIA's own risk factors in its own filing. It says its revenue is concentrated among a limited number of customers, and, in its words, that this trend may continue. A company doesn't write a sentence like that for effect. It writes it because a regulator requires the warning. So how concentrated is it really? The filing breaks it out. In the most recent quarter, one single direct customer accounted for 21% of all of NVIDIA's revenue. A second made up 17%. A third, another 16%. NVIDIA doesn't name them, but 3 unnamed buyers together are now more than half of the entire company, and a year ago that share was far lower. The shovel seller has very few miners. Now the wrinkle, and it's where the tidy story gets more interesting. NVIDIA isn't only selling to this ecosystem, it's investing in it. Its holdings in private companies went from $22.3 billion to $43.4 billion in a single quarter. Some of that money is flowing back out to the very firms buying its chips, including a $13 billion licensing deal with one AI chip startup, Grok. This isn't a scandal. It's a business model quietly funding its own customers, and it's worth watching. The filing is also honest about what can go wrong, and one risk isn't hypothetical, because it already happened. A year ago, China brought in $9.7 billion in the quarter. This year, after tighter U.S. export controls, that same market brought in $4.6 billion. That's not an analyst worrying about the future. It's a number already sitting in the filing. So let me be straight about the edge of what I can prove. What's true today is confirmed and on the page. A margin of 74.9% right now. What I can't tell you is whether it lasts, because the same customers propping it up are also building their own chips to replace it, and the filing doesn't forecast that fight. The margin is a fact. Its future is a question, and honest analysis keeps those two apart. So here's the one line to take away. In every gold rush, the miners might strike it rich or go bust, but the one selling shovels gets paid either way. Right now, whether or not all this AI spending ever pays off, NVIDIA has already been paid, at a margin almost no hardware company ever sees. I'm not here to tell you what that means for any stock, only how the money moves. I read the filing so you could see it. If that's your kind of thing, this channel does one of these every week. I'll see you in the next one.